What is up, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome back to the Doghouse. We're super excited to be here this week. Thanks for joining us for episode 7. 7 whole episodes already. Isn't that kind of crazy?
It's crazy to us.
7
It's
is my
insane.
lucky number, so hopefully this is a good one.
Isn't that a lot of people's lucky number?
Probably, but we have 7 members in our family. Little backstory. So it's always been my lucky number. Hopefully you all enjoy this.
Yeah, we're really excited. Episode 7. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Doghouse Podcast.
So, gonna get into it. Today we are starting a whole new series.
New series.
Who's
What?
excited? We are so excited.
I'm excited. First of all.
This has been something that I wanted to do since we started talking about making this podcast. It was one of the first ideas that came to my mind, and I'm super excited we're finally starting it. So the series is called How the World Works, according to Rob and Emma. So, basic idea of the series is we are going to be giving our takes on different things in the world and our personal experiences with them and kind of how we think that they work. And we're going to be explaining a wide variety of things.
The name's in the title, guys. The way the world works, according to us. And quick disclaimer, this is the way the world works, like we say, according to us. And this is just our opinions and our own experiences. We're very firm believers, and there's not one set right way to do anything. So just keep in mind, it's according to just us, but we think there's going to be a lot of value in it, so we hope you enjoy. So for the first episode of a brand new series, we're going to be talking about a very big topic, a very important one to both me and Emma here. The topic is education and learning.
So, we both believe that education and learning are super important and valuable, and they have been a part of our lives from pretty much as far back as I can remember, and up until pretty much this point.
To this day, for myself, we'll get into that, but it has been interwoven throughout every phase of my life for all 25 years of it.
So, kind of jumping right into my backstory with education, like I said, kind of ever since the time I started having memories, education and learning was an everyday part of my life. I went to public school for 12 years, preschool through senior year. I also was part of a church growing up where we had multiple lessons a week. We met on Sundays and also outside of Sundays for a lot of our youth.
Yep.
So lots of learning there as well. So pretty much every day, lots of learning, and all of it taught by adults, and most of the learning, especially public school wise, was taught one way, kind of to learn things, and one value that you get out of learning things, if that makes sense. Like, your grades were important, validation, academic validation from adults. So that was kind of my earlier experiences with education.
Emma, you were just talking about your personal journey through your education, kind of. You brought up a point about having it being one way in your mind, right? Go ahead and just real quickly reiterate that one.
Yeah, 100%. So learning and education to me was all about kind of physical, concrete results. I was kind of smart or whatever when I was younger in school. I was just pretty sharp, quick on my feet. So I got a lot of good grades and academic validation from teachers. So education for me turned into just getting those results from adults and getting those good grades. And when I started to struggle with a few of my classes later in high school, and also for other reasons, I just started struggling with school and learning in general. Because that validation was kind of taken away, my grades got worse, my relationships with my teachers got a lot worse. The value of it started to go down for me a lot, and I didn't feel smart. I didn't feel like I was learning things. I just kind of was trudging through life. And I didn't realize until I'm kind of saying this all out loud how much of that had to do with education.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because of how much that validation meant to me when I was a kid. So when I stopped getting it, that stopped my trajectory and motivation a lot. I think it affected me a lot more than I've ever thought about.
That stopped the only way you knew how to learn, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. There was nothing to learning new things for me if I didn't get those immediate good grades or, good job.
The validation.
Gold star.
Yeah, the
no gold stars.
Gold stars.
Meant no more learning for Emma.
That makes a lot of sense. And to kind of go off that, my experience with education growing up, I'll jump into that because I think there's a few interesting parallels, but also really interesting differences, right?
100%. We have a pretty big age gap. We mentioned in the first episode, but Rob is 5 whole years older than me. So we weren't super close grade wise growing up. So we had a lot of different experiences in different places, and just because we're very different people,
right.
Even though we're similar in a ton of ways with this specific topic, we're actually quite different, which we'll kind of get into later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Rob's education experience through public school was a lot different than mine.
It was, and that's not to say it was better by any stretch of the imagination, guys.
Yeah, don't get too excited yet.
So, like I was saying, growing up, my educational journey was pretty much K through 12, normal public school, and pretty early on, I realized I was not the best at traditional school, so to speak. And that was pretty apparent from kind of as early as I can remember, but the most memorable point where that was absolutely clear was when I was 13 or 14 years old. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD when I was in 8th or 9th grade. Now that, for me, is a big reason why school was such a struggle. So my sort of experience with school through majority of my, or almost all of my earlier childhood years through high school it wasn't for me. I was really bad at learning, and I saw absolutely no value in participating in something I was so bad at.
Yeah, this man growing up would rather do anything, absolutely any other task besides his homework.
I'd even clean my room.
He would even clean and do chores, which was a really big deal. Our mother had to badger him so much. I would get secondhand stress from him not doing his homework, or parents yelling at him for getting bad grades, pulling teeth.
Yeah, my experience was it just led me to believe that education was not important. I did not see the value in it whatsoever. It was only because I had to go that I went, and the fact that I am the way I am, my personality kind of doesn't let me completely not try or finish it. So it was a real struggle. And like Emma mentioned with her backstory with this, we both kind of ended at the same conclusion, right?
Yeah, I think we both ended up in similar places after high school. With our different experiences, we both mentally were in the same state about learning and education, which is kind of crazy considering how opposite sides of the spectrum we were on. In that growing up education, but it really helped us come together after
really
college, and we have very similar viewpoints on it now. So
yeah. Let's mention real quick that is not our current opinion or viewpoint on learning or education whatsoever. It has completely 180 degree flipped, which I think we're about to get into.
yeah, if you're ready to jump into it, I just didn't.
Very ready.
I didn't want to leave you guys thinking that that's still how we feel about it, because
No.
it is the complete opposite, just like Rob said. So, like I was saying, we feel very differently about education and learning right now than we did a few years ago.
Absolutely.
And part of the reason why is because of our experiences with higher education
Yes.
and learning in general after high school. We feel that learning is a very, very important tool that everyone needs to kind of learn how to utilize. We'll get into that in a second, but I want to talk about my experiences with higher education for a second.
Let's get into higher education, because I think that's very important and ties in perfectly to how we feel about it now, because we both had some very unique experiences. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so starting out my freshman year of college, I was still not doing great, like in a great headspace for learning. And I wanted to do a full load of classes. That obviously didn't work out for me. I think I finished out one class my first semester, and then I was completely tuckered out, took my second semester completely off, and actually the same exact thing happened this year to me, which I'm totally okay about, because I feel like through cycling through, I'm not sure if I want to go to college. I don't know what my degree is going to be, so maybe I'll take one class
One
that
or
I'm
two,
interested in.
just to do it.
Take a general education class, just to get it out of the way. And then I would completely not have a bad experience in the class, but just bring back a lot of bad memories from high school. And
no, that makes sense.
I would get stressed out about turning stuff in. It just got really overwhelming. So there were a lot of reasons why I chose not to do school or more classes. But in the end, cycling through all of that really taught me how to learn when I'm not in school, in a structured learning environment, which was really important for me.
That's huge.
It helped me kind of put value back into learning for myself, if that makes sense.
Would you say maybe you relearned how to learn?
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. I relearned how to learn, and through that I've been able to open so many new doors for myself and take on so many new things, because I have the skill now of knowing how to learn things really fast. And that doesn't come quickly.
No.
It's something you have to work at, and you have to try a bunch of different things, spend a lot of time, because learning, it doesn't take forever to learn a new skill, but you do have to really be committed.
It does take some time, and it takes doing it, and it takes trying new things, which, sorry to jump in here,
please.
but I just wanted to reemphasize, you went to college, you tried it, you tried the thing, and even though you fully didn't recognize the traditional value most people would see in college, as in the degree, but you still came away with a different kind of value and tools about learning, which in and of itself is part of the education of college, I would say.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that. I don't remember a ton of actual knowledge from the classes that I took, if I'm being honest. But through trying those classes and honestly pretty much failing to do a lot of what I tried to do, I learned
what works for you,
what works for me learning wise, and what absolutely doesn't. And that's something that I want to hit on really fast, is learning what doesn't work for you is
Yeah.
just as valuable, if not more, than learning what does work for you. Failing is a part of learning. So if you are trying to learn a new skill and you're trying a bunch of different ways and failing, all you're doing is now learning and eliminating things that you know don't work for you.
Yeah, you're learning how not to do it, and by that you are inversely learning how to do it. Beautifully put. No, that's a great point.
Yeah, thank you. And now Rob has had actually very different higher education experiences than me, similarly to our like public education experiences. So
yeah,
he'll talk about that right now.
Let me jump into that. So now I'm gonna dive into my higher education experience, my college experience. So I got to college my freshman year, and to say the least, it went very poorly. Like I mentioned earlier in the episode, I have pretty bad ADHD. It's like pretty bad if I'm not medicated. So when I got to college my freshman year, wasn't medicated, failed a bunch of classes, and because I had no idea what to do with my life and I needed to do something, I just kept going to college. So I go back for my sophomore year of college, and I'm medicated this time. It goes magically so much better. And truly, from that point on, my grades were substantially better consistently. And I've been kind of keeping that consistent for majority of the rest of my college experience. And that's because I had to, a little bit, just like Emma was saying, learn how to learn for myself, if that makes sense. I needed to learn how to actually work with my specific needs. I needed to get medicated, and then I needed to figure out the ways of studying, the ways of doing everything that worked for me. So that's kind of my higher educational experience. And like I said, we reached, again, almost the same conclusion.
Yeah, we totally did. And one thing you said that I want to bring up again is you catered to your specific needs.
I did.
And I don't think that enough people do that when they are trying to learn something new.
It's the big box method of learning that stops a lot of people from actually learning, I think.
Yeah, there's not one right way to learn something. I know I was talking about
circle, though.
I was talking about this earlier, so we are full circle at this point. But cater to what works to you. Be a little selfish. Hey, if I learn better visually, I'm going to look up a bunch of YouTube videos.
Take that extra time.
Work with yourself, and it's worth it. Like,
so worth it. Sorry, one more quick tip. Not that this is a learning tips video, but if it's like as dumb as like this is what I do. So, hey, I want some fun colored pens to take notes with because that's fun for class. It would make me more likely to take notes. Do it. Spend some money. Make it fun for yourself, or give yourself the right tools. 100%.
Make it fun. One of my greatest joys in life is buying fun, nice office supplies.
Yeah, that's the stuff, man.
I love it so much. It brings me so much joy, and it helps me want to use them and be creative. So.
No, absolutely. It's like, so through our, like I was saying, higher educational experiences, we learned that learning is actually massively valuable if you can figure out the way to do it optimally for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Just gonna say this one last time. Relearn how to learn. It's worth it.
That's the main takeaway here. I think we both want, if anything, you guys to get.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up there.
We will. I think that's a good place to stop it.
But hopefully you learned something.
Hey, maybe
in this video. thanks for joining us for the first episode of How the World Works according to Rob and Emma. We're still getting used to it.
Yeah,
but
no, this is still very, very new to us. But
we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. This has been Doghouse Podcast.
Episode 7. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Peace.